so everyone can get this recording. Okay, cool. We're live. So you guys both can be heard, so feel free to talk, speak up whenever you want. So it looks like this week the big thing is just finding the sample method we're using and then the sampling frame.
Which we already kind of talked about this, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Like I feel like the only sampling method we can really use is a survey.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just kind of the way it is being where we are. Do you have any ideas, Christina, besides survey, or was that what you were thinking?
Nope, that's the only way we can gather our own.
Yeah.
Unless we use secondary data. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree. Perfect.
Yeah, because I think the biggest thing we need to figure out is like what questions we're going to ask for.
Yeah, because did you guys both see the feedback she did on our, what's it called, questions?
Yes.
No. Sorry, I'm still a little behind.
No,
So,
I don't blame you. You were gone for a while, and that.
yeah. Thank you guys. That was so good. Like the literature review and everything.
It was all.
Professional.
It was all Christina and Alyssa, so thank them. They did awesome.
It's all the words everyone put there. Put it all there. Okay. So I'm looking at it right now, the spreadsheet too. That had the. So we're using the spreadsheet because it's really helpful. And yeah. I think my suggestion is that we omit the question 3, since we can have 2 to 4 questions. We could omit 3 because that one would be super difficult. And our questions are difficult as they are. We'd have to find a huge sample. So, and I did change question 2. Did you happen to notice yet?
I'm pulling it up right now. And Adrian,
so
this is the teacher emailed it to us.
Ooh.
So it was, let's see, February 10th, so about 5 days ago. She called us by the wrong name. And
yeah. But the information's ours, but it's the wrong name.
Yeah. So it's a little spreadsheet attached to it. And she, yeah.
Oh, the attachment?
Yeah. Did you guys watch the video? Because I didn't. I'm just seeing this video.
Wait, did she send us a video too in the email?
Yeah, she did. I'm gonna play it real quick.
Okay.
See if I can do.
Hi, this is Sister Maxfield, and I am recording this so that you can have an explanation on this workbook that I'm sending you in your email today. This course is demanding. I am sure you have figured that out by now. And one of the most demanding things about it is there's just a strong learning curve of the process of how all of these assignments tie together and where you're headed. Why one assignment is meaningful for the next assignment. And so to help with that, I created this workbook. And I hope that you can use it as a method of communicating and working together as you make the decisions that are going to shape your project, and also as a way for me to communicate meaningful feedback to you in a place that is, first, easy to access, and second, that will enable us to continue the conversations back and forth as necessary. I frequently meet with students. I'm going to start meeting with students with you very soon.
Okay, it seems like it's just kind of an explanation of the Excel. I thought it was going to be specific to us, but it just kind of
That's
saying,
kind of pretty generic.
yeah. So it's all right if we don't dive too much into that right now. So I think we probably should start with our hypothesis real quick,
Mhm.
and then we can adjust our research questions a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I adjusted them already because it has to be a yes or no question. Nothing further than yes or no. So I adjusted question 2 to also match being yes or no. And I put some suggestions for, I wasn't sure if the one hypothesis is supposed to answer all questions, or are we testing separate ones? So, but I stuck it on our group. What is this? Google Drive notes.
Ooh, okay. I will check that out real quick. Which
Wait,
one?
so do we need to edit like our research questions? Is that what she's saying in the comments, basically?
Yeah,
Yes.
we just have to make them fit better.
Like more specific
Yes.
and like measurable, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So down. I put for a suggestion for a hypothesis that matches the questions as they are, so that it can be answered. It's number 3 and number 4. Experienced drivers, those with more than X years of driving, are less likely to be in an accident while using a cell phone. And to match the next question is, using a cell phone for any other application than texting causes more accidents than texting alone.
I feel like those are great.
I like that.
Which Google Doc are you on, Christina?
The one that just says HS 391.
Okay, not the group paper one?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, cool.
I just stuck my notes there so I could find it when we have our reading time.
That was smart. Around what? Oh, there, I just saw them. Where'd they go? Oh.
Top of page 2.
Perfect. Okay.
This
I
we
guess-
already had existing 2. Those first number 1 and 2 were existing already. I just adjusted and put 3 and 4 just to match our current research questions.
Because like some of the survey questions we can just ask people like, do you text and drive? Like simple questions like that. And then if they say like yes, then we can do like a follow-up question and then be like, have you ever been in an accident due to texting or distracted driving? And then we can just have like our range wide and interview like older people so that we can, just like Christine said, the hypothesis, so we can prove it. Like between older and younger people. Or do we have to keep it just young adults?
I don't think it's just specific to young adults. I think it can be anyone. Yeah, just as long as they're not under 18 or, you know, there's a couple little things she said.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, plus we have to be careful on how we word our questions because we want them to be able to generate the answers that we're looking for without without kind of, I guess, being manipulative in a way. So, like, you know, being specific about the question, not too general. Like,
So, Christina, were you saying to use like 3 and 4 for a hypothesis?
yeah, that was just a suggestion. Because the question matches an answer that we need from the research questions. The hypothesis matches the questions.
Yeah. I'm not sure if we can use 4 because, like the teacher said, like how can we, like really, I don't know, I
Gauge
think
that.
it's hard to say, like, were you using a certain app and got in an accident? It might be better just to stick with like texting generally.
Yeah.
Good idea.
So,
I don't know. Yeah.
well, we can definitely move on a little bit and do the stuff that we need to tonight, and then we still can always get input from Melissa and oh man, I feel really bad. Josephine. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So if we just want to talk about more like our research method right now, and then we can come back to it when we get more thoughts on it.
Mhm.
Do you guys think that's a good idea?
Yeah. My computer just restarted.
Oh,
So tonight is not my night, you guys.
oh man, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's a bummer.
So it's okay, lost us down. Okay, so we have to talk about, so we're doing a survey, and then we have to say like our group, right? Or who we're testing or surveying.
Yeah, so discuss our method. So is this method possible in our situation? A survey, which was the only thing we came up with so far. Is it, I feel like that's possible, right?
Oh, yeah.
Can we achieve a good sample size and limit potential bias by using this sampling method?
I feel like we'll probably have some bias.
Yeah. I feel.
Because, like,
Go
I
on.
don't know. Well, I'm just thinking, like, I'm in Provo, so, like, I don't know, the people I interview or, like, survey will probably those around here. I don't know if they're Mormon, maybe they're, like, more, like, won't text and drive because of, like, religious things. I don't know. That's, and just, like, the geography, like, where I'm at, too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm only sampling, like, one place.
Yeah, and that's why I think with the next part, with nailing down our sampling frame, it'll be important to determine like what subpopulation we're focusing on, because it says identify your sampling frame with your group. A population is not defined by geographic boundaries alone. There are many subpopulation groups in a large geographic location that may be interesting to study. So like we could just focus on like, let's see.
Actually, you really do need your questions first, because from your question, you form a hypothesis. And from your questions, you also see what's your target population.
That is true. Yeah.
So you really can't move forward without having that one thing done already. That's kind of why it was the last week type of a job.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's true. Or we can like figure out where our target population and then steer our question towards our target population.
that is true also.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But And also base it on our paper as it currently stands. Our paper currently is what it's talking about, you know? So it's talking about the use. It's not a paper that's focused only on text messaging. Just so you know.
True.
Yeah.
Maybe we can come up with a question for like each section or something.
Yeah, that would be good. Because
Are we only going to have like one hypothesis and then like our research questions will help with our hypothesis?
I feel like that is what she's getting at. One hypothesis, one null hypothesis, and then everything directed at that.
Okay, let's go with what Christina was saying earlier about the hypothesis. Because it sounds like then we have our target population, or at least the age group anyways. And then we can narrow it down from there.
Well, it kind of isn't an age thing. It depends on what your question, what you want to ask. It's more of the target population could be only drivers. It depends how you ask questions and what you want to ask. It could be only drivers who has been in an accident using a thing, you know, you narrow it that way. It's not based on something else that's really broad. Then we're only talking to people who's ever been in an accident while they're on their device. And then you can break it down to, well, what were you doing on your device? Were you texting or anything else? Then that's how you like throw them into different things, right? Only texting or anything else other than texting with your phone while you're in an accident. And then the other question kind of matches a more of a, how long did you have your driver's license? That's it. That's all it's asking. That's different. It's so you were in an accident. We established that. You were using your phone. Now, how long have you had that license? Did you just get it last year, 2 years ago, 10 years ago? You know?
Yeah, I like that.
I love all of that. So basically, our target population is drivers who have been in accidents.
Yeah. Because I see her questions, and then that's how we avoid it. We're not talking to everybody. We're only talking to people who's actually been in one. Because that's how we're measuring, right? We're not measuring everybody who has ever been in an accident and then what were you doing while you're in it. We're only measuring after you're in an accident, what were you doing on your phone? That's all.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. Done and done.
Oh, and just so you know, Adrian, it's a lot easier to get the kind of sample that we need, which is going to be quite big. It's a lot easier to just use social media as a majority of your time and efforts, because it takes X amount of time to go and talk to just one person. But when you throw it on social media and then tell your friends to create a survey, you'll see during the IRB experience how you file for one. They'll tell you have to have instructions on it. So kind of like putting a disclaimer type of thing. And then when you throw it up on whatever social media platform, just ask your friends if they could share it. This last summer we did it, and we only in a matter of days, we got more than 300 samples on a simple survey. So it can be quite easy. And except our questions right now, it's a little more challenging because we're talking about a particular target, right? That's a pretty tough target because we're only talking to people who had accidents. But accident, and then we can, specify what accident means. We mean anything, not something giant and major, any kind of little bump, whatever it is. But yeah, that's a fast way. Just, it's a fast way of getting all the information you need.
Okay, that sounds good. So should we form our survey next time? To kind of get everything ready this time and submit what we need to have submitted this week? Yeah,
because what's due next week is just sorry, I'm trying to do multiple things. Is just what method we're using and what our sample is going to be. And it's basically a 1.5 to 2 page paper on that, which I don't think will take too long.
So basically, so what we'll submit this week is survey, and then we're going to, our target is like those over 18 years old drivers who have been in accidents. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like that, Christina. That sounds good. And then is there anything else we need to submit this week?
So let me find it. Yeah, so it's just 2 to 3 well-written paragraphs stating the sampling frame method and justification of your choice, and why the sampling frame you defined is useful for your particular purpose. Don't assume it is obvious. Explain why your method is a better choice for your study than a more random process. Be sure to include a study design you are using, the group you are studying, and a recipe for how you will plan to go about collecting information you need to collect.
So we probably should have our research questions that sounds like.
Yeah. So we'll need our questions. I feel like we are on a good track with them right now.
Yeah, whatever Christina said, let's write those down.
Yeah, distracted drivers are more
Sorry,
like,
I'm just getting back on my computer so I can start helping.
no, it's fine. Let's see. Christina, how did you phrase those sentences that you said earlier?
Oh, for which one?
When we were talking about the hypothesis questions.
Oh,
So I'm trying to remember the way you said them because you said them really good.
She said like,
not sure.
if you've been in an accident, and then like, what were you doing when you got in the accident? Or something like that. Is that right, Christina?
Yeah. Yeah. But those would be used more for like as part of the survey, a survey question. I see it.
Yeah.
For our data gathering purposes.
Yeah. So our hypothesis was those who are in an accident were more likely to be distracted, and the more experienced the drivers were, the less likely they were to cause the accident.
No.
Where are we writing that down?
It's a Google Docs around page 2.
Okay. Do we need to write down the hypothesis though?
Yes.
Like, do we need to include that where we're submitting it?
We're going to stick it on the other document, on the one that the teacher sees all the time. And eventually it'll make its way onto our paper. Yeah.
Oh, so if we put it on there, we're fine.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, because right now we're just putting it on the SH391 just so everyone else can see it and they can edit it however they want, or if they want it to be better.
Okay, and then we'll just submit like the things she gave us.
Yeah.
Or
So
no, we have to submit a paper.
A paper. Yeah.
yeah, we have to do a little paper. So
What's going to happen is it's actually going to be added all onto the paper that we have. The whole thing is going to be one giant report by the end of the semester.
Yay!
Yeah, it'll get added to our review, our peer review. That's where the questions goes at the bottom, and then I'll have everything. All of this will all end up there.
That'd be cool though. Like, to be like, we did this all.
Yeah. So for the frame, would you say this is a simple stratified sampling?
yeah, I would definitely say it was stratified, because if we are focusing on people who,
The group.
yeah, have been in accidents.
Hey Sam,
Yes.
where did you get you were like listing off some things earlier that we needed to include in our paper.
So
Is
it
it
is,
on the application instruction?
yeah, beginning lesson 6 application. It's in the midweek of sampling.
Okay.
So for our paper this week, are we just going to talk about how we're using a simple stratified sampling
Yeah, but
method and how we're
we-
going to get a lot?
yeah, we have to get the sample down. I mean, this hypothesis down first. Because one thing I'm thinking about now, though, is if we do drivers who have been in, like, if our sample is only drivers who have been in accidents, and then, like, our hypothesis is those who have been in accidents are more likely to have been distracted. And then our second part is, like, experienced drivers are less likely to be in accidents, then would they really be in the sample that we're testing? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Wait, so we're doing drivers who have been in accidents were more likely to have been distracted? Is that what we're saying?
No, because our paper already establishes a lot of things. Our paper already established, as it is, it already establishes that people who are in accidents, majority of the cases, so what was it, like 40, 70% or whatever, was on texting, was doing texting. And then in our paper, it also breaks down what other activities. So all we're asking, since we've already established all that, is we're asking about driving experience. So it's not really an age thing, because you could be 25 or 30 and just barely got your very first license ever and only just started driving, you know? So we're talking about length of having your driver's license, playing in a part of an accident while using a cell phone. So that's our first research question. So something that matches that. And the other is using a cell phone for things, well, currently, unless we change it, which we'd have to change it before we can establish anything else, you know, like make a hypothesis about it, using a cell phone for things other than texting. Just that would, so the question two, the difference is from all the information we already found that's in our literature review, the difference is more recent technology. You know, there's so much more things you can do now. So between the time of those studies that were done, all the studies that we had gone through, and those studies had listed texting as the #1 worst distracted driving act that people are doing. So what we're asking now is, what about other things now that our phones can do? Are those worse than texting, or are those still not as bad as texting?
Okay.
You know, see how it all matches? It has to match your research questions. And the research questions comes because it's stuff that we have not established already through our literature review.
Okay. So like, okay, I'm just gonna start typing.
Driving.
Okay. So #4 we're doing is our hypothesis then, right?
I don't know, because
Like,
if I feel like we're still on two topics here. Like we're on experience and like, is texting worse? I mean, what's more involved, texting or another app? Because
so we want to like simplify it to just like one thing.
yeah, that's at least what I'm seeing. If you guys see stuff differently, but I feel like it's still too far apart.
Yeah, they are. Well, that's the thing about this. It's so weird. How can one, so what we want is, the question is, that's why I meant in the beginning, like, is it one hypothesis per question?
Yeah.
Or are the questions more than, so you can, like 2 to 4 questions, all can be answered with one hypothesis. You know, that's one thing I don't see in the instructions anywhere. It doesn't specify, it doesn't say or anything. Is all research questions supposed to be answered by one hypothesis?
Oh, that is the key question there.
Right. That's what I meant from the beginning. That's what I said in the very beginning. That's what I mean. Like, how can that be? It's supposed to be all questions that can be answered one way. Or do you pick one and make a hypothesis off of that? Don't know. Oh, I think I know where I might look. Maybe in the sample. Right. Let's see if I can open the sample.
I feel like it probably would be one hypothesis and then one no hypothesis, and then the research question supports that one hypothesis.
Yeah.
So, but now we have to find like a pretty broad hypothesis.
Yeah. I agree.
of saying like texting, why don't, in order to bring like the other apps into it, we can just say like using your phone while driving. Because then that includes like texting and like using other apps. And we can do like using your phone while driving, like null hypothesis, kind of using like number one, like using your phone while driving does not increase your risk of an accident. I know.
It's, yeah, I don't.
But then we want to include like age into it, or not age, but like experience too. So
Yeah.
you do using your phone while driving, and like using your phone while driving, and less experience behind the wheel does not increase your chance or like your risk of an accident. That one.
Can you say that one more time? Sorry.
So, no, you're fine. So, using your phone while driving, and having less experience behind the wheel does not increase your risk for, or I don't know how to phrase, like, for being involved in a car accident or an incident or whatever.
Yeah.
And then,
That.
I don't know.
because then that,
Wait, that might contradict though our paper. But you know, because all these questions, they're actually questions that form after your research on the topic, right? So in our research on the paper, let's see, we have already established a connection. That connection that you're talking about. Let's see. I'm just trying to look for it in our paper. Fatalities.
but now isn't that what we're doing with our project, is to prove that?
No. Everything. So the paper, the literature review, is us spouting the facts as they are. And then the questions are, what other questions do we have in addition to what we just found on the topic? What other questions do we have on this topic that was not just answered in our paper? You know, you're supposed to be thinking about, oh, what else is there to it? There's more to this thing than we've noticed. And that's why we're asking questions about it, to find out. We want to learn more is the point of this project.
Okay.
Yeah. So the question can't ask something that we already answered.
What do you think we should do for a hypothesis then?
Oh, I already put my suggestion. That was my suggestion. Those questions were not answered in our paper.
About like the apps and like using
The experience driving one and the apps.
Sorry, I have to look again. Let's see. Wow, I got like 10 million windows open. Okay, let's see.
and then we need to use that to write our paper, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Sam, I'm so confused where the stuff is that you were reading off of.
So it's
Like lesson 6 application instructions.
Yeah, so it should be in the midweek folder, begin lesson 0, lesson 6 application instructions. And then I'm pulling it up right now and I can tell you better where exactly it is.
And it's like methods and sampling framework.
Yeah. So what I was reading was towards the bottom, step 2 and 3.
Oh, okay. Okay. So let's just use number 4 for a hypothesis. That works. And then, yeah, okay, let's just do 4 and 5 then.
Wait, so what questions are we going to edit?
So let's work on the hypothesis first, because then we will be able to do more focused questions.
Well, you see how the order, so the order happens that you need these questions first because the hypotheses are based after the questions. And
But
we'll have to fix our paper.
Isn't the hypothesis, like, don't we form questions from a hypothesis?
No, well, the research, that's why the framework's next. The research is off of your hypothesis. You see how, so the questions, I have our project, the group project paper up right now.
Mm-hmm.
What we'll have to do is edit it, fix the things that she said to fix, which is just one small area I see. There was only one suggestion. And also the questions are on it, the research questions. We'll have to change them, omit something, or put new ones, or whatever. Because, so did you look at the sample, the example project? How all of this is going to be one giant thing? So what we want to do is maintain it as it moves along.
Yeah.
So that we have it all there. And notice how a hypothesis in the framework comes after your questions have already been done.
Yeah.
Since the questions was a last week job. So that's why you would form a hypothesis. It's based on your questions.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like we have to get our questions closer together.
Yes. See? Yes, exactly. So we
Okay.
need to redo our questions. If we only want one hypothesis, if the point is for one hypothesis to answer all questions, then we need to alter questions and update them.
We have to alter our questions for this week's submission.
Yes, because we
yeah,
can't submit anything without them. There is no framework. We don't know what we're doing if we don't have the point of doing it.
Okay.
Unless we're just going to go on and talking about stratified sampling and talk about how we're going to get lots of samples.
So I guess we could combine 4 and 5 to create a hypothesis then, right?
In that document. So experienced drivers are less likely to be in an accident while using a cell phone, and using a cell phone for any other application than texting causes more accidents than texting alone.
So like somehow like reform it. Would that work? What do you think, Christina?
Sorry, what did you say?
Like combining 4 and 5 under the hypothesis question.
To make them one hypothesis?
Yeah.
So,
Or do we want to do 2?
okay. Experienced drivers are less likely to be in accidents while using a cell phone. So how do we put that into one how would we combine 4 and 5 into one statement? Because a hypothesis is one statement. How would we say that?
We could do like less experienced drivers using a cell phone or any other application are more likely to cause an accident. Or something like, does that make sense? So, okay, trying again. Less experience. So I'm kind of flipping it.
Clean.
I don't know, I guess.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
And if less experienced drivers.
Less experienced drivers who use their cell phones. Yeah, I
That's a
think.
good combination.
Yeah, I think you're on the right track here. And I think it's just going to be fooling around with this a little bit. Maybe giving it a little time and having the other two look at it, because they might have a little more fresh opinions on it, and then we can just plan over email, because this isn't due till next Wednesday, so we have some time to work on it. And Christina and Alyssa did a lot with the literary review, so I feel like me, Adrian, and Josephine can do a little bit more heavy lifting on this. Not that there's going to be much, but does that work with you guys?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, I've been on campus since 5, so my brain's not working anymore. So
Since 5 this morning?
Yeah.
That sounds so gross.
Yeah, it's been a long day, so I'm kind of burned.
Yeah.
But is that okay with you guys if just
Yeah.
like saying, like emailing the other two and saying, hey, here's where we got last night. We're kind of confused at this point. And we can maybe even email the teacher and say, hey, this is where we're stuck. Any input? Does that work for you too?
Yes.
Yeah, that works. And then let's just like write the paper up right here, and then we can all edit it and just kind of work on it together.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Because I feel like we're like this higher up stuff is where we're having problems, and then once we get that done, we already know we're going to have a survey and it's going to be stratified in some way, and then everything else is going to fall into place.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So
we can all just kind of like, dang it, it's not letting me. I wanted to do the numbers. So then we'll have the hypothesis there, and then we need to like come up with 4 questions to support the hypothesis, and then we'll write about it in our paper. Is that the plan?
Yeah. Yeah, and it only has to be 2. If we can get more, it'd be better. But if we can,
let's stick with 2.
Yeah, we want 2 questions, and I highlighted it so we can say, hey, Alyssa and Josephine, can you look at what we've highlighted? We're struggling with this. What do you guys think? Does that work for you guys?
Well, and I think Christina already kind of hit on this, like research questions to support that hypothesis. So
Yeah.
Yeah, or it's not. Well, I don't know if that's how the hypothesis happens, but it doesn't seem like it because I'm looking at the sample paper and it does not. Is all the questions that's there does not is not all answered with one hypothesis. I don't think so. I don't know.
like
I think we do need to.
there's multiple hypotheses.
There's 3 questions and they all cannot be answered by one thing. So redistribution.
Maybe we should get that clarified with our teacher.
Yeah, I'm drafting an email right now to her
Yes,
and including all you
I
guys.
feel like once we get that,
Yeah.
that'll help too a lot.
Yeah.
All right, let's call it quits, guys. I feel like
Right. Let's call it a day.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys, that this was the most productive, but we have our ideas out in the open now, so we know what we need to focus on.
yeah, that's good. So once we clarify that, we can all just edit it, and so sounds good.
Okay, guys,
Sounds good. All right.
I'm gonna finish this up, and then I'll send an email in the next like half hour, and you guys will all be included. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Okay, bye, guys.
Thanks,
See ya.
guys. Bye.